Are you sitting comfortably? Oh, good. Then I'll begin. Dawno, dawno temu, many, many years ago, once upon a time, there was a little girl called Terenia. She had a big sister, Danusha, who always had her head in a book, and a mummy and a daddy, and they all lived happily in their home in Birmingham. Terenia and Danusha were so loved. Their mummy and daddy would do anything for anybody. They saved for everything and had meat once a week. Frania, mummy, worked at 3 cleaning jobs and Stefan worked nights at a factory. Frania baked beautiful cakes and always had food in the cupboard. In case we get any visitors, she told them. Oh, she couldn't bear for anyone to go hungry. Stefan, her daddy, was very kind and would let his daughters put makeup on and curlers and bows in his hair. And then he'd go to the front door and open the door for the poolsman. Oh dear. Frania was a wonderful storyteller, acting out the story, holding her gaze on the scenes she described. So you felt you were actually there, seeing them really happen. They bought clothes from jumble sales. Frania bought Terenia a beautiful dress there. Well, she thought she was the business in this dress. Like everything, Frania meticulously washed, ironed, starched the dress. Terenia wore it to Polish church on Sunday and begged to wear it to school. And Mummy said, yes. When Rose McGee saw her in the playground, she said, Oi, that's my dress, that is. No, it isn't, Terenia said. But it was. It had been Rose's dress before her mummy gave it to the jumble sale. After that, children called Terenia Second-Hand Rose. Second-Hand Rose, Second-Hand Rose. For years, she thought it was because the girl was called Rose. She spoke Polish at home and didn't know it was something people said who spoke English until she was grown up. Stefan, her daddy, said hello to everyone he met. At the bus stop, on the street. Sometimes people looked at him as if he was a bit, mad, or made stupid, horrible remarks. Oh, do you have to speak to everybody? Terenia said. It's embarrassing. Stefan explained. Terenia, if you say hello, how are you? You lost nothing. If they think you're stupid, that's okay. You're not stupid. It doesn't matter. You don't know that person, but you may say hello to one person who needed that. Later, when Terenia was grown up and a teacher, she remembered his words as she went from one building to another in the school, at her school, saying hello to many people and stopping to chat with a few, those who wanted to, those who needed that. Sometimes her daddy would say, shh, don't tell mummy. Like the time he came home from the factory wearing Wellingtons. Terenia asked him why he wasn't wearing his shoes. She was quite a nosy girl. Never mind, he said. After tea, she found him in the veranda cleaning yellow paint from the inside of his work shoes. The same yellow paint used to spray paint things in the factory. Someone at work had deliberately done it and sprayed everything in his locker, painting Polish vermin go home. It was the first time Terenia had really felt anger. How dare they do that? She cried. Terenia, my little perełka, my little one, don't be so upset. You should feel sorry for them. What? I should feel sorry for them? Because to have that kind of hatred in your heart, how can you live every day? You wake up, you have hatred in your heart. You go to bed, you have hatred in your heart. Terenia, I can clean that paint from my shoes, but I can't clean the hatred from his heart. Shh, don't tell mommy. Stefan had escaped from Treblinka, concentration camp in the Second World War. Treblinka was a Nazi death camp in Poland and which was occupied by the Nazis. He'd been put there because he had refused to fight in the German army. Terenia never knew this until one day Daddy was teaching her to do the 7 times table. Oh, I can't do it, Tato. Oh, Daddy, I can't do it. Okay, Terenia, we'll do a different way. So, that coffee table is 3 times 7, 21. And 4 times 7 is 48. That'd be the chair. And so he went on, using things in the whole room for the whole of the 7 times table. So, what is 7, 7? He said, pointing high up in the corner where the walls met the ceiling. Oh, I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, Terenia, do you think Daddy can jump over our wall that high? Oh, of course you couldn't, cheeky Terenia said. Her daddy was a small man. Ah, but I did. When you have to, you can doing anything, Terenia. Florian, my friend, and me and 3 other friends, we escaped from the Germans in Treblinka. Florian and me, we get it over the wall. The others were shot in the back and killed. Terenia, when your life depends on it, my God, you can run. After that, she always remembered that 7 sevens are 49. Stefan and Florian made their way to France, where they fought with the French partisans. After the war, Florian went to America and Stefan came to England, to the Welcome Hotel in Stratford-on-Avon, where he met Frania, and we fell in the love. Whenever Terenia asked him about what happened to him during the war, he could never talk about it. And never to Frania either. He thought she'd been through enough herself and didn't want her to have to carry his pain too. When the Nazis invaded Poland in 1939, the Russian army took some of Poland and put Frania, her mum, and her pregnant sister, and lots of other Polish people in cattle trucks. They took them to a prison camp in Siberia in Russia. It was very, very cold. Depending on how many trees you felled, that's how much bread and water you were given. She had to try and fell enough trees for all of them. Until the day Frania died, she blamed herself for the death of her niece, who died in her arms of starvation. If you collapsed, the Russian guards just left you to die. One day, Frania was dying in the snow from typhoid. A Russian washerwoman found her and hid her amongst the dirty uniforms covered with lice that she had to wash for the Russian army. When her husband went out to work in the morning, she would get Frania out and nursed her back to health. You know, she saved my life, Terenia. When she was better, she went back to felling trees. No one noticed. There were thousands of them. When she fell asleep and her face froze to the side of the wagon that transported them and the others to the concentration camp, the others blew on her face to melt the ice. If she tried to pull away, she would have left some of her face there. It had happened to others. They all looked after each other. Many things happened to Frania. Some of them she just couldn't talk about. When Russia started fighting with the Allies, Frania joined the Polish Corps of the British Army, travelling through many places: Palestine, Egypt, Italy. This tiny woman drove a massive lorry. She was a soldier. She was proud. She had the smartest uniform. You know, every night I get at my trouser and I folding and I put it under the mattress. Oh, and Terenia, if there was an iron, oh, the girls would give me their trousers. Nobody can iron like me. And nobody could embroider like Frania. After the war, at home in Birmingham, Frania taught herself to do the most beautiful embroidery. It helped her to feel better. Every few years, Frania and Stefan and the two girls would visit Poland, which was a communist country by now. They had saved and saved and saved to go. They took food like tinned Polish ham and clothes bought at a jumble sale for their families, and crimpline so relatives could have something made for Sunday best. Oh, Frania and Stefan enjoyed time with their families. On each visit, Stefan went looking for his brother. Wojtek had been in Treblinka too. The family told Stefan that Wojtek had become an alcoholic who slept on the streets. Vodka was very cheap there. It broke Stefan's heart. Next time we find him. They never did. If there was a queue, people ran to join it without knowing what was for sale. One time it was for a washing machine, and their cousins managed to get one with scratches and dents all over it, which they shared with their neighbours. They were so pleased. Oi, Terenia, do you realise how lucky we are to have this? Oi, yay, they said. Terenia and her sister were petrified when they were going over the border. The soldiers stormed into the train, threw the doors open, and shone lights in their faces. She clung to her Polish doll, crying, "Oh, please don't take my doll, don't take my doll, I'm begging you." They didn't. She thought how very different her life would have been in Poland. She loved her family there. Everyone spoke Polish all the time. She remembered that one time she went to a wedding which lasted 3 whole days. Frania and Stefan never wanted war to happen again. The UK, being part of the European Union, was the best thing that had ever happened. Because, thanks God, now there will never be another European war, Terenia. Europe is standing together. When you're a family, you might have tiffs, but you never hurt one another, you never kill each other. They believed the EU was formed after the war for us all to work together for the better good. Grown-up Terenia was glad they weren't there to see us leaving the EU. And to see the Polish friend who was going home because she was spat at, as she cleaned around a patient's bed. Or the little girl who was given a handwritten card saying, "Polish vermin go home," at the school gates. Terenia wondered if people had forgotten about history. And now, grown-up Terenia feels blessed by the life I have had, because my mum and dad was so special. I know I could not have wanted for better parents. They were like two little doves together. There have been times when I was desperate to fix things for them. But they became who they were because of all those dreadful experiences. They refused to have hatred in their hearts. And that's how I learned to love. Every Sunday, they sat on the same bench in the same pew in church. My dad would say 10 Hail Marys for Hitler. I asked him, why? Because, Terenia, that was a man who was very ill. He was mentally ill. If any soul need praying for, it is his.